Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I greet you with the Islamic greetings of peace. Welcome back to the Dawah Digest channel. Today I have a very special video for you. It is a little bit lengthy, so I cut it up into two parts. I had a aggressive atheist lady come up to me, and she was very, very angry at the fact that we quote-unquote force women to wear a hijab. After talking to her for a little bit of time, believe it or not, it has a pretty special ending. I highly recommend that you check out the video. Stay tuned, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and let me know your thoughts after our conversation. As always, any beneficial guidance and blessing comes directly from God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and any mistakes that were made are purely from myself. Thank you once again for supporting the channel. Please enjoy the content.
Brother, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so here's the question that I have for you. Do you believe in prescription?
You're not even Middle Eastern, right?
Nope, I'm a white guy.
And I am Middle Eastern.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
all right.
Go ahead.
All right, so you believe in prescriptions, right? Like when a doctor prescribes something.
Yes.
Okay, do you follow them to the T? Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so are there,
Forget.
right, so are there Muslim believing women that do not wear a hijab?
It's not the same.
Why not?
Because you are covering them. This is, I mean,
No, hang on.
you're not free to do.
Just stick with the question. So the question is, do you,
this, this way you can explain
We're just having
anything.
no, I'm, look, I've got cousins, even my mom is not a non-hijabi, but she's still a Muslim, right? So I can't judge her for her choice to either wear a hijab or not wear a hijab,
Why do you have that here?
because this is what was prescribed. Now it's up to you whether you want to follow the prescription or not.
So if I don't wear a hijab, I'm not modest, I'm not.
No, that's not true at all. My mother's a very modest woman. I love her to death. I'm very proud of her. You're wearing very modest clothing today,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. So again, when something is prescribed, right, and you're following the doctor's orders, you may get a different result from when you say don't follow the prescription, right? Now, I am also upset, just like you're upset, because my mother is a non-hijabi, right? And she has a particular stance on something. And I'm upset that women are being mistreated, right? I'm a married man, right? I've got a sister and I've got a mother. So I'm on your side here, whether you're an atheist or not, okay?
What do you think of what's happening with Iran? And I'm not,
Right, so
I'm not Persian.
okay, this is the thing, right? So it's unfortunate how Iran is named the Islamic Republic because people see that and they think that's Islam. But what the Persian government, they're doing, they're taking some, they're taking the religion and
Absolutely.
putting it
Yeah, they're just bad actors.
to their agenda, right? And then,
Remove it.
Why? Well, hang on. So that's the
You
thing.
believe that they're misusing it,
Right.
and then this should not.
Right, so that's why we have to, so if I can just bring it back a second, right? The reason why we can't remove it is because this was a prescription by what we believe the source is God.
Okay, so you said that. Thank you.
Yeah.
You said that this is because you, women are. Precious.
Going back to that, right? So when there's something precious, right, you don't want to expose it to the outside, right? Because it can be harmed. It can be right.
I'm not harmed
Okay.
by you.
By not, it's not by you, it's by bad actors. So like, for example,
So
if we,
Yeah, right.
no, not at all.
We may not.
I am a,
but
pre-
you
I'm a
might be.
precious.
Right.
Absolutely.
diamond of my heart.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes, exactly. Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
right.
No,
You're always going to get kind of other people kind of, taking, well, why do they say, sexual assault, rape is, on these large numbers? It's because people are exposing themselves, right? It's like if you're not helping yourself in any way, you're vulnerable to all these things, right? So
Now we're not saying men still have to do their part, right? And they don't, right?
This is the thing, right?
I agree.
Right. This
Well,
in Islam.
So hang on one second.
I take that back.
Hang on one second. So I'm a Muslim man, and I have done you no harm. So we can't use that generality, right? So I will say that there's bad actors in every faith.
Because even if I wear this, men still see me as a woman. They don't care if they want to rape a woman. They
Yeah,
should
if that
hide
person,
and hijab.
absolutely. So for example,
So what do we do then?
here's how I feel, right? I feel that the Eastern countries have taken things so politically and they have objectified women into tools by completely covering them, which is not prescribed, right? And I feel that Westerners have objectified them by pieces of meat and using them as commercialization, okay? So now what Islam is saying is it's saying take the middle ground, dress modestly, and here is a level that you can have your modesty up to. So what we believe is coming from God is saying this is the degree of modesty that I would like to see.
So what I'm hearing is, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead,
For me
please.
as a woman, these are two,
Ends of the spectrum.
yeah.
Okay?
These are two very opposite things, and
Absolutely.
there's no middle.
No, there is a middle.
Because this is covering women, and that is
Okay,
exposing and using them.
So hang on.
Either way, you guys
This-
are treating us.
This is veiling a woman to a capacity where she's being respected in the nature that God would like to see her be respected. Now, I'm gonna just take it just a brief step back. I can't even go down that conversational route with you if you don't believe that it's from God. So,
No, I mean, I absolutely respect
yeah,
your belief
yeah.
and that you believe that it's from God.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just, as a woman, I mean, I respect all this, whatever.
You
it
can
is.
have an opinion on it.
Yeah, I just
Right.
don't.
So what we need to know is what is the reason for your opinion on that matter. So I gave you my
It's
reason.
the other opposite of what you just said.
No,
There's
no.
in between.
Are you familiar with what a niqab is or a burqa?
Yes.
Okay, right. So that to me is on the other end of the extreme. However, for someone to veil themselves and dress modestly, I see your eyes, I see your nose, I see all these things. Exactly. Exactly.
Middle Eastern women are gorgeous.
And I'm married to one.
There you
I
go.
did
Where's-
right.
Where's she from?
Egyptian Afghan.
Okay.
So now the thing is, we have to find out why was this prescribed, and if the source is God, then we have an authority as to why it was prescribed.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So now I can't remove what this authority says, right? And we also have to understand that through time, right? It wasn't just like for example, I remember when I was in middle school, right? The girls' skirts were nowhere near as short as they are today,
Yeah.
right? So through time, there was a degradation of a
Remember 70s?
yeah,
My mom used to wear.
right. But it was maybe for certain events or when it called for it. Because in the 70s, yeah, but people dressed like gentlemen, right? Like they had the suits and the hats and they had nice shoes and all this other stuff, right? So now the same way that things start to degrade, the further we stand from that point which we were instructed or prescribed to be. And it looks like it's so far-fetched, right? So for example, if we look 150 years back or 50 years back, we're gonna have different outlooks on where things were, right? So we have to ground ourselves from a source. Now, I choose to ground myself to a source that I believe is the ultimate authority. You are choosing, and correct me if I'm wrong, to ground yourself from your own perspective and your own opinion based on what society has determined for you.
No,
Okay.
not based
Okay,
on
well,
society.
for example, right? Look, this is the thing. People, right? We follow, we are slaves to our creator. We kind of follow what's prescribed from the creator. What people that don't believe in God, they are a slave. You have to be a slave to something, right?
I'm not slave to anything.
You follow you follow, right? For example, we follow what the creator says.
Okay.
Other people, they follow something, they follow their desires.
Like
They-
you
they
were
follow
talking
society
about
constructs,
medications.
right?
What if I have to take, otherwise I'll die? So what do I do?
I mentioned prescriptions, right? I mentioned prescriptions.
What
So
if
there's
I pray and God please
Yeah.
hear
No.
me?
So the prescription is 5 times.
No,
No, the prescription is 5 times a day. So for example, my father's a Muslim, right? My father does not pray 5 times a day. I'll tell you outright. And I love him to pieces. And as much as I try to educate him about the importance of it, he just says, son, it's not for me. But my father believes in the core tenet of Islam, which is La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, along with all the other messengers, right? I'm in the process of studying it and learning it. So my colloquial Arabic is like super small, but I love the beauty of the language.
Beautiful language.
It's a very beautiful language. So now I can't look at my dad and say, Dad, you're not a Muslim because you don't pray 5 times a day. or I can't look at you and go, you're not a Muslim because you don't wear a hijab. So being a Muslim is very simple. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Now the caliber of a Muslim that you want to be is up to you. You can go all the way up to scholarship and, meditating and praying 20 times a day, or you can come down to the point where you just say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So it's not my position to judge, right? And I have to respect our differences, but I have to prove to myself whether or not Islam is actually a thing. Is God a thing? Are the messengers a thing? Or is it just all pish posh hoopla and now here we are doing whatever we need to do, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I saw my coworker.
No problem. So like as far as the activism on change, right? My activism is to stand side by side with you in changing the way that men respect women. That's my activism, right?
I appreciate it and respect it.
Yeah.
And this is all fine. Like I said, there could be Christians do the same thing. They put
Yeah.
their information.
Yeah.
It's just
This is right. So the position, the Quranic.
You guys are not a woman.
No.
As a woman, this is, I don't know, this to me.
But how would you propose it to someone like my wife who chooses to be a hijabi?
No, good for her. I mean, if
Right.
she wants to, but what if I don't want to?
So I just told you if you don't want
Let's say
to.
my husband says wear it and I don't want to. What do we do?
Okay,
Divorce?
so I just told no. It's up to your
Muslim couples that are married.
brother. Hang on one second.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's up to your. Is your husband a reasonable guy?
Very much so.
Okay, very much so. So let's just assume that husbands should be reasonable, just like your husband. And if something is unreasonable, as if you don't put the hijab on, it's a divorce comes up, that guy's got bigger internal problems that you and I can think of. And those guys
But
actually.
the fact remains,
No.
he wants her to wear it. We're talking about-
Hold on. But what fact? The fact that it was prescribed, or the
No,
fact that.
he wants her to wear it and she doesn't.
Okay, so again, it's not he who's the authority. It's not your husband or anybody's husband who's the authority.
In Muslim culture, or I would say in the Middle East, a woman has to
This one.
listen to her man. She has to.
Within reasonable
Here,
bounds.
You're in the West, it's very different. But over there, women cannot. If her husband says you have to wear it,
Right.
he's not going to be like, oh, let me, think about it philosophically, theoretically, whatever. No, he's going to say wear it.
Right. So
Or
now here's the thing.
try.
Is he following culture or is he following Islam?
He's following his
No.
brain.
Exactly. That's exactly. No. Hang on. He's definitely not following Islam.
What's the solution?
The solution is a middle ground. The solution is, I just explained it to you, but I'm happy to repeat it. The solution is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed the hijab. If you choose not to wear the hijab, that's between.
You're not following the prescription.
Right. That's between you and God. It's not between you, your husband, and God. Now, the husband that is unreasonable is making that mistake. So, for example,
But in your eye, in from what you're saying, she is not following the prescription. Anyway.
and that's between her and God.
Okay.
Okay? So now, what does that mean to me? To me, that means I can't sit there and either blackmail you or threaten you or act any other way other than positive and try to inspire you to get closer to what God prescribed. That's it. That's my only position. Now, all the other dudes that are out there in the Middle East doing what they're doing are wrong. I'm telling you that right now. Because they are considering themselves as the ultimate authority and they've got bigger underlying problems than a woman not wearing a hijab. It's totally right.
They're sick men.
Yeah, right. So they're bad actors, right? Meaning, let's say, for example, for whatever reason, the guy is self-conscious about himself and he just wants to exercise power over somebody. The closest person he's going to do that
is
to.
power.
That is power, but it's a wrongful exercise of power, right? Because in the Quran, it teaches us to be gentle to women. The Sunnah teaches us to be gentle to women like flowers, right? Now, there's a lot of people that don't follow it, right? But I'm an example of a Westerner who has seen it, right? I don't think he's married. I don't think you're married, right, brother? I hope so. Well, so I was born in Bosnia, so I'm technically Middle Eastern, but a lot of Turkish influence and stuff like that. But And
yes.
thank you so much, Balkan. I know we're very handsome, right? Thank you. So, you know, there has to be that respect of that middle ground. Otherwise, there has to be that respect of that middle ground. Otherwise, we come to the conflict that we're in right now, where you see things politicized, you see things kind of twisted in any which way.
People use us. I mean, those people use us.
Yes.
We're just ants to them. They do whatever.
Absolutely, which is incorrect. This is an incorrect. Number one, you're a human being. Number two, you're the most valuable human being. Look, I just had my firstborn like 9 months ago. Thank you. And I tell you, I turned to my wife, I turned to my wife and I said, Wallahi, if anybody challenges the strength of a woman, they're fools. They're absolute fools.
You can take this.
Refreshing to hear.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So happy that you think that.
Yes.
I just hope that everybody, all other men,
Yes.
think that way.
The ones that are wrongfully thinking, because there's many good folks just like yourself, just like me, right? And unfortunately, they're not given a platform. Why? Because it's not charged. It's not polarized enough to the point where it's creating controversy and then eventually dissent, right? It's not drama. It's not sexy. It's nothing, right? So really, again, it comes back to that foundation as to why I believe that this is still accurate and shouldn't be changed. And I'm an activist with you, but from the other end, right? Going out there, you know, I would protect you in this place. If somebody were to say something to you, I would have to stand up for you. Otherwise, I'm not doing right, right? So now, I know that you had mentioned that you're atheist, right? I want to, if it's okay with you, I want to circle back to that because I was one of the biggest atheists in the world, okay? So I'm interested in your story and why you believe that.
Well, let's start with I was born in Russia
Okay,
during communism.
Okay.
So I was not exposed to any kind of religion. But I'm also, I'm not Russian. I happened to be there accidentally. I belong to a very ancient ethnicity called Assyrians.
okay, yes, I'm a little familiar. Yes.
So they've gone through a lot of genocides.
Yes, my people too. Every 50 years.
One, and two of them were, I'm sorry to say that, but by Turkish, by Kurds, and by Persians.
Oh, no, it's okay. We're
It
on
has
the same
nothing to
boat.
do It's nothing to do with this. I'm just saying that's how I ended up in Russia.
That's the
because
foundation.
they were free, and then I see it.
You can take it, by the way.
No, it's okay.
That's
We
not
have-
I have
English,
it.
This is not. This is in Russian.
Russia. You speak Russian?
She does.
Хорошо, спасибо.
See?
No, my husband has a Quran in, I think in Farsi or
Okay.
Arabic, so no, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
But, so I think my atheism, I guess, came
Okay.
from seeing how people use religion to basically
They weaponize it.
Yeah,
Yes.
to destroy each other.
Okay,
And
fair.
So my family, my grandfather's family, my
Okay,
grandmother, they were
thank you.
killed.
Jazakallah khair.
Walaikum salam, walaikum salam.
You too. They were killed
Okay,
for no reason because they were Christian.
okay.
Muslims killed them because and again, there has no bearing on the religion. I'm not saying because people are people, they're stupid.
But it did have a bearing, right? It had an
Yeah.
effect on you.
It did.
Right.
But I'm not saying Christians are better than
No,
they're
not at all. This is the conflict that we have to
Because
kind of.
what I see is the churches and mosques or whatever. I'm talking about the people that are in power.
Yes, I agree.
They use it to
Oppress.
not unite us.
It's oppression.
Oppress,
Yeah, absolutely.
Not unite us, but break us apart, and then they
They
make
divide
money
us.
off of it.
Absolutely.